Welcome to a new update in which we're going to look at the price action of Bitcoin and what a potential scenario is in which we are looking for a breakout or a break downwards. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also check out our free trade letter. We're posting it 3 times per week in which we include macroeconomics, we include trade setups on altcoins and more. We're going to include Forex as well. And regarding Forex, we also have our premium membership. There's the final 5 days of the discount until the end of the year, as in the next month we're going to launch copy trading, which will all be accessible through our platform. Right now we are having a 30% discount, so make sure to use that as the spots are limited. Final 5 days if you want to join. Now, when we're looking at the price action of Bitcoin, it's extremely boring. What we can see overall is a case of a sideways period in which we are not making any movements at all. Macroeconomics, there's not much taking place either, so probably we're not going to be seeing a lot of it, but we are still facing a crucial resistance that we have to break through. I've just put it on 16.9, but it's this block in which we had a tap, another tap, and last night we were trying to break the high here as we took out the liquidity above these and started to fall south again. So you're actually looking at a few levels that we should be holding in order to avoid any market breakdown. But what are the levels that we're currently looking at when it comes to the price of Bitcoin? Well, overall, we are looking at a case where if we break to the upside, we have some crucial resistances which we can focus on. Of course, we've got this resistance at 17.4, and we've got another one which we have here around 17.7. So these are the two that if we do break to the upside, it's going to accelerate quite fast, and preferably I think that we're going to have a move towards here unless something else happens. At this point, we are looking at a case that has been going sideways for a long period, and we've got some more levels which are interesting. One of them is the level that we have at 16.6, through which we have been seeing a bounce already, right? We also have a level which we have at 16.773. That's this level here. That's also the range low. So what are we looking at right now? We are looking at a case where the market was actually trying to break to the upside, took the liquidity, but is still acting within this range for approximately a week. So there are not many trade solutions, and I think the moment that we're going to have a breakout, it's going to be a significant one. So what are we looking at in the case of whether we want to see a breakout taking place? Usually we take the liquidity beneath the lows. As you can see here, we took the lows here as well and started to run after. Before we are actually going to make a move. So in this case, we have been taking the high, start taking the low, and then we started to run. In this case, we went sideways, took out all these lows, and then we started to run. Very simple. We started to run all the way towards this high here. So we actually continued to run towards the high, which would mean that we're going towards 18K. In the case of Bitcoin right now, when we're looking at the 1 hour, and I can also look at the 4 hour, we're just consolidating and going sideways. But we can navigate ourselves and see that there is still a lot of liquidity left that we are most likely going to take before we are going to have any move. In that case, we've got these lows here, right? Actually, we've got these lows, which we could be taking. We also got these lows, which we could be taking, and we've got these two here. I think that right now we are going to have a downwards move, or it's happening already, through which if we are taking the liquidity beneath these lows, you're actually going to target yourself a level around 16.773. This block is the one you're looking at for a potential case. On the upside, crucial resistance is also quite clear, and once we start taking out these highs, the optimal solution is that we're most likely going to see more strength and that we continue moving. So in that way, 16.773 is the first level you should be looking at if we want a case like we have been seeing here, and then you can start targeting for the continuation towards there. The second scenario is that we fall down towards 16.6, and I think that is pretty much the final hurdle before we really start making new lows. So if you want to avoid having new lows, you clearly don't need to fall below 16.6. You generally want to see it hold there in order to avoid a market breakdown. So what are the scenarios that we're looking at when we look at the 1 hour? You're probably going to try to get an aggressive long going, which is in the highs here, and then you can start targeting the 17.4k zone. That is the solution. The second one is the solution that we drop all the way towards 16.6, get a bounce back up to 16.9, and then you're also going to look at a case of the 16.78 level to be flipped. So all in all, taking liquidity beneath the lows is not a strange thing that's happening right now. Preferably, you want to see it hold and you want to see it claim back towards 16.9, because if we do have this break above 16.9, it's going to accelerate quite fast. And then you can look for scalp short or hedges in these two zones, but preferably you're looking at longs at that case. If we do break beneath this level and we go towards 16.6, of course you can start looking for shorts when we have the breakdown, get a bounce, and then have some weakness before we can actually continue moving. In that way, if you're looking at the lower time frames, the same can be said here. We do have this bounce up, we reject, come here, make a slight bounce back up again, lower highs as we are approaching some levels here on the 5 minutes. We actually didn't even get there. And then we started to fall, through which resistance is becoming active here, short opportunity, and the short is probably getting into towards TPs. Same can be said here, but we were front ran, so you're not going to get it. If you're getting it, you're probably going to get some attention. But 16.775 is technically speaking the level which you want to look at. If we continue to fall this level, then this is the play that you're looking at. And I think these two plays are the ones to go for. If we have this market breakdown, then you're looking for the scalp short, and then you're going to look for the long again. If you're looking at the DXY has been calm for a few days because of Christmas. Currently approaching a resistance as it's filling the gap. I don't believe that it's going to continue moving that much. I think it will just be range bound, and always depending on next week as the data comes in next week again. Lots of macroeconomic news going to be kicking in next week, so that's an important one. I think that the trend will just remain going downwards here. We are on the edge of a breaker. I think that if we do have the breakout of the DXY to the upside, indices are probably going to fall a bit more, and then we're looking at a case towards here, and then we continue to fall to the downside. Finally, we also have the case of Tesla, which is currently crashing massively. Even pre-market, which is already open now, it started dropping more as it's down another 5%. It's overextended by a bit, so if Tesla gets into the range of support, which we can start to look at if we are looking at the time frames. If you're looking at the case here, it has been falling and it couldn't reclaim a level of support. So it couldn't reclaim the level at $200. Just like it has been bouncing here, it lost support and started to lose these lows, right? So now we're also taking these lows, and we're probably going to find ourselves support at either 110, or we're going to find support here at 100. And I think that there's a gap to be looking for a bounce all the way towards this block here. So in that way, buying Tesla is not a bad action to do so. And I think that the moment we're going to get a bounce like Tesla has been doing here from May all the way to September, right? It's going to bring a bounce towards Bitcoin as well for a month of 3 to 4. And I think that's why the quarter will be relatively good for Bitcoin. If you go back towards the Nasdaq from May to September, we can also see that May through September and August, the Nasdaq has been showing this bounce. If you're looking at the Dow Jones, we can actually see that June until August was a period of relative strength, and the Dow Jones is even not looking bad at this point. So I think looking at Tesla, these are the ranges you should be looking at. Looking at Bitcoin, I think the scenarios are quite clear, and you're going to look at some lower time frame levels to get yourself filled if you want to get into a long. Given the fact that the volatility is so low, you can actually use higher leverage if you want to have the same risk. I think that having 1% risk on your portfolio is essential. But these are the scenarios that I'll be looking at, and I'll be updating this in the coming week. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Yesterday I've been doing a video on Chainlink. I've seen the comments. People are very negative right now. That's great, because that's usually a time to start getting interested into the markets. Also check out the trade letter, become a member through our premium platform with our traders where you can copy trade my portfolio as well. And I'll see you again tomorrow for a fresh new update, and have a wonderful day. Ciao.